What is up, my dudes? Hansen here, and welcome back to Int Media, my video games analysis YouTube channel. I am coming to you at the ripe time of 5:50 in the morning. That's the time I'm recording this video. I'm coming right off a mid-shift, so if I slur my words or sound stupid, please forgive me. Let me tell you, my friends, I'm recording at this time because I love doing this, and let me tell you, man, I want it. But that's enough about me. We have something far greater to talk about today, and that is, of course, From Software. If you've been following my channel lately, you'll know that I'm on a bit of a Souls kick, and let me tell you, I can't wait to talk about the main theme for today's video. From Software's games are deeply perplexing to me as someone who has extensively played video games for well over 20 years. And before I begin this video, I want to point out that these games have been some of the most meaningful gameplay experiences that I've had in my life. I genuinely think that they're great, but I think that when you look at them at just a level beyond face value, in all reality, the Souls games should be bad. And here is what I mean by that. These games generally offer no guidance at all in any of their games, making it basically necessary to use a guide if you want to see everything the game has to offer. The stories in basically all of From Software's Souls-like games is very vague and obtuse and requires the work of YouTubers like VaatiVidya to actually do some storytelling. The systems and RPG mechanics are incredibly confusing, and to top it all off, the From Software Souls-like games perform just about as well as a snail trapped in molasses on a technical level. I know I probably just pissed off my fellow Souls-mans down in the comments, but I do want to reiterate that I love these games, and I mean that genuinely. So for the focus of this video, I'd like to flip the script on what I just said and analyze reasons why I think these games fly in the face of modern game design, reasons that set them apart from being simple action games, and most importantly of all, reasons why From Software Souls-like games, that's Bloodborne, Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Demon Souls, Elden Ring, and yes, Sekiro, because yes, it's a Souls game, are great. Let's get after it. The first and most important reason that I think these games are great is a very simple and rudimentary reason, but yet it is perhaps the most important reason. Something that is intrinsic to video games as a medium, harkening back to even the arcade days of yore for video games. That reason is this. From Software's Souls series gives you a list of things to do that are very fun and immensely challenging. Yes, it's that simple. Video games at their core revolve around two concepts, presenting you with a litany of challenges that will not advance without your engagement as an interactive medium, but also strive to make these challenges fun and engaging. One of the largest criticisms that I have of modern day video games, especially PlayStation's first-party games, is that I think that they suffer from the fact that they give you a list of things to do that aren't really very interesting or exciting, and they do this in order to maximize the value you get out of the $70 that you invested in their product. I'm not trying to pick on PlayStation's games here necessarily, because I obviously love them. I have an entire weekly series centered on analyzing the PlayStation brand, for Pete's sake. But nonetheless, let's examine a few of those games to see what I'm talking about, and how they differ from the Souls games and the challenges and things to do that the Souls games offer. The typical model for a PlayStation first-party game is that it's a third-person, over-the-shoulder game with an enjoyable combat system that features an open world with a checklist of things to do in that open world. The different series that I'm thinking of here include Spider-Man, Horizon, God of War, and Ghost of Tsushima, just to name a few. I've played and platinumed all of these games in these series except for Horizon, and what I have to say about these games is I think that they're very, very good in their own right, with excellent graphics, combat systems, and especially stories, which I think PlayStation is absolutely lapping their competitors in. But an area that I think that they fall apart in is the fact that when it comes to the list of things to do, or the litany of challenges that will not advance without your involvement, they tend to fall apart, especially when it comes to the open world section of these games, which is usually mind-numbing actions that we all undertake simply to get the highly coveted Platinum Trophy. Although I loved God of War Ragnarok as an overall game, I really hated its Platinum Trophy. The fact that it made me travel travel to all of the different realms in order to collect some sort of weird different flower. Don't even get me started on how angry I was that I had to go back to Ironwood and be reminded of Atreus' gameplay segments. I really didn't like that section of the game, having to go back and get those flowers. It was pretty fucking terrible. But what I also think is interesting about these games is the fact that, specifically on PlayStation, there's a very high platinum percentage for most of these games. For Elden Ring, there's a 10.5% platinum percentage. While these might seem like small percentages, I think on the grand scheme of things, when it comes to platinum trophies, these are actually really significant in large numbers. And it shows the lengths that people were willing to go to in order to do everything that the game had to offer. What makes the platinum trophies in these games fun to obtain is that they're much more focused experiences that lead them to being very rewarding experiences. In order to get the platinum trophy, you don't have to engage in mind-numbing open world checklists or by playing a running simulator like in God of War Ragnarok. I don't really know why I hated this so much, but I absolutely despised how much it made it feel like you had to run everywhere in that game with Kratos' breathing and shit, just sprinting around all over Midgard. From Software's games force you to get the platinum by forcing you to master the different games' masterful combat systems and fully upgrading your characters and weapons. And of course, this is all linchpinned by the fact that the Souls games only have one difficulty level with little to no options for lowering their demands from you as the player, which forces us to overcome the challenges before us or quit. And fellas, I really think it's just this simple, and I'm gonna conclude by hearkening back to my opening point. These games are just fun and challenging. And I won't be having any of these demands from weaker players that simply don't want to work to get better at something and who insist on demanding from Software that they lower the difficulty of their games. These games are obviously good, they've reviewed well, they've sold very well, so if you really want to see what makes these games so great, you just have to commit to them. You have to commit to them, and you have to get good at the game, and you have to beat the bosses, and you have to progress. That's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. And the beauty of these games is that the rewards that await us on the other side of these challenges is not just great gameplay. It's also incredible lore, beautiful art design and art direction, and incredible level design that really boggles the mind and makes you question what the fuck is even going on. But ladies and gentlemen, I must relent and say that I almost missed these games. If I didn't give them another try when Elden Ring came out, I may have not experienced the beautiful art that was presented before us by the Lord God Miyazaki, as well as the rest of the team at From Software. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed this gushing about From Software and really the core thing that I think makes these games great. I do plan on making an inverse of this video where I really analyze the things that holds these series back from reaching even greater heights, and maybe I'll do that in another video. But for now, that's all, and it's time to go. As always, fellas, this is Hansen with Ent Media, out.